Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Queen B. You can call me Beyondle, Butlerful Bottles, or you can simply call me B. If you like, you can call me B Teacher. I am a proudly South African Mosotho girl teaching English in South Korea for EPIK, the English program administered by the Ministry of Education. As you guys can see from the title of this video, I am celebrating 1 year in South Korea, and I just thought I would reflect back on the past year, my journey, and why I think you may enjoy being in South Korea. So let's jump straight into things. Am I a qualified teacher? And the answer is no. I actually do not hold a B.Ed or a PGCE. I actually hold a BBA degree, which is a Bachelor of Business Administration. I majored in marketing, so I'm a marketing baby. I also hold a diploma in digital marketing and a certificate in property development. So all of my qualifications have got nothing to do with education except for the TEFL. And prior to arriving in South Korea, I had no teaching experience. Apart from the teaching experience that I got from at home in the lounge, I actually used to use the furniture at home to teach my kids, but this was back like in primary and high school. And I used to go by the name of Mrs. Bracy. My favorite student in the class was Valerie. Don't ask me guys, but I actually used to teach the furniture at home, and education is actually quite close to my heart because I come from a family of educators, vice principals, principals and stuff. So I knew that education is something that I would most likely go into. However, I actually fell out of love with it. You know, once you grow up, you get exposed to other industries. You know, at some point I thought I'd be in IT, then I thought I'd be a civil engineer, but maths and science showed me flames. And then after matriculating, I was like, okay, listen, I'm going to go into acting. And by then the acting industry was not so great. So my dad was like, darling, are you really sure? Maybe you may want to do something else. If not that, you're gonna have to do acting, but like abroad. And I was just like, dude, I'm not going abroad. Like, I'm not going anyway, you know. Stupid, I know. But anyway, I was not that brave back then to move abroad after matric. So I decided to go into marketing because it was broad and it would enable me to work in different industries. But the issue came in when I graduated from marketing. I wanted to go back into acting. So I wanted to go to the New York Film Academy in Los Angeles, and my parents said, yes, you may go. But then I was like, what is the point of me going there to do a 1 year acting certificate only to come back to South Africa and possibly not use it or not even getting to acting here? Because let's be honest guys, the acting industry here in South Africa, TV industry, media industry in general, is just not too friendly. The jobs actually circulate among the same faces and stuff. It's so hard to get in. There's a lot of other stuff that happens. So anyway, I was like, nah, you know what guys, instead of wasting y'all's money, give me that money. I'm gonna travel the world instead, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do my BBA degree. So that's what I decided to go with. I don't regret it because I was able to do other things, you know, with my life other than just acting. I never actually got to practice marketing much because I then changed industries and I started working in the built environment industry. I did procurement. That's the last job that I did, and it was quite interesting actually. It's not the easiest industry to be in, guys, especially when you work with lots of clients, lots of professionals. You need to be patient. You need to always be on top of your game. But I absolutely loved working in the industry, and I love the fact that my timetable was very flexible. I didn't have to wake up early in the morning to be in any office. I could actually work from my bed, especially during COVID. COVID times were like so fun. I mean, I could have meetings in bed and switch off my camera and stuff. But my work was very chilled. I could say that I come from a very nice chilled life in South Africa. That's why I struggled a bit when I arrived in South Korea. But that's my background. The reason why I decided to then go to South Korea to teach is because I wanted to do something fun with my life. I wanted to do something very interesting. Ever since my 3-month stint in the States, I was like, you know what, one day I have to live in a different country. I did not know that this country would be South Korea. I saw the South Korean country like back in 2020, and I was like, okay, I'd like to visit South Korea just to travel there and stuff, but nothing about living there, of course. And the end of 2021, I was like, the South Korean country is coming in my head again. What is going on? What is God trying to tell me, you know? And then I decided that December that, okay, we are going to do this, you know? So I was like, I am going to go on a beautiful adventure to do something really fun and easy, which is teaching. I mean, guys, if you think about it, the jobs that we have are super simple. Well, I find it super simple because I feel like I'm just getting paid to talk. You already know how to speak English. You're not acquiring a new skill, you know. You just have to get in front of those kids and speak. That's why I find this job super simple and super fun. I wanted to explain this so you'll understand why I had the experience that I had. Now, let's move to EPIK. So when I was told I was going to be a teaching assistant, which is what we are because we work with co-teachers, I was like, goodness me, are we going to be talking about pronouns like adverbs of frequency, digraphs, or prepositions? Like, what exactly are we teaching? At EPIK orientation, they tell you about lesson planning, about doing this, that, work with co-teachers and students and whatnot. But when you get to your school, guys, some of the things that you would have learned at orientation don't actually get implemented because schools work very differently. I never used to do lesson plans at my school. Like, what in fact is a lesson plan again? I never did that. The first and the last time I did a lesson plan was for the EPIK application. So I arrived at school and observed my teachers do lessons, and I was like, okay, it seems pretty easy until I was told to do it. And guys, that's when the trouble started. So the first 2.5 to 3 months in Korea, I struggled with lesson planning. And at that same time, remember, I had an issue with my pretty little feet. So I was not feeling so great. I was sleeping in the AMs and I was planning lessons like the day before the actual lessons. There were times where my games would not work in front of those kids and they would be sitting there like, be teacher. And I'll be like, oh my word, the game is not working. Like, what do I do? Like, panic. You know, tell my co-teacher will always be like, oh no, it's fine, you know, don't worry about it. I will do this with them. You can work on another game and whatnot. And me working on another game means that the entire lesson, I'm not present in front of my kids. I'm now working on this damn game that did not want to work. I mean, how dare a game embarrass me in front of my kids? Do you know who I am? I'm being teacher, man. You don't do that to me. So the first few months I struggled, you know, so I dedicated my weekends now to perfecting my craft. I was like, okay, listen, I don't want to live like this. I'm not here to plan the day before work. I'm not here to work on weekends either. So there has to be a way that we can do this whole lesson planning thing. So I started to use my extra time at work to lesson plan and not chat. So I went through all of the platforms we were given to get activities from, went through all of these games, learned how to play the games, like even the different variations, you know. It got to a point where I was now able to fix a PPT game within 10 minutes. You know, I was no longer running around like, oh my word, this does not work, that does not work. You know, I learned quite a lot in that short space of time, and by learning all of those things in the beginning, guys, I can tell you now, it will make your life so much easier, because after those few months I started to plan a week or two in advance. So meaning that on weekends, darlings, I was no longer working. Hence why I only started my YouTube channel in December. That's when I was like, okay, we've got this. Like, the show is on. I know what I'm doing now. I'm very comfortable with planning a lesson Friday afternoon or Monday, a few hours before the lesson starts. And that's when the job started to become fun.
I've had such a good day. And let me tell you, today reminded me of the reason why I took this job. It's because of my kids, man. I'm here because of these kids. I'm here to make a difference in their lives, you know? Even if I can get them to just say, hi, B teacher, how are you? The one student today, my goodness, he was like to my co-teacher, teacher, my heart is breaking into pieces. And I was like, what?
But guess what happened when the job started to become too fun? I got too used to it and I was like, oh man, is there not more that I can do? You know, can I not push them a little bit more? Can we not switch things up? I was starting to feel that I was getting a little bit frustrated because look, I'm a woman of challenge, you know. I like to do the difficult things. I want to be challenged at work. It got to a point where I was not feeling that anymore because let's be honest, I could do these games with my eyes closed, guys. I told you guys, I am the PPT master. And then I realized, you know what? This is how the curriculum is set. You cannot really go outside of what you've been told to teach the kids. I had to learn very quickly to calm down. I still have so much fun teaching my kids. I love that they're so smart. I love that they really hype me up because going to classes is like so fun. I feel like I'm arriving in front of an audience and I have to perform. You know the way that you'd be screaming at Beyonce before she walks on stage, like, Beyonce! I feel the same with my kids, you know? When they come to class like, be teacher, be teacher, be teacher. He always treats me like that. I love it. I love it. Oh, I'm coming. Good morning, class. Hello. That's literally me in class. I was like, hi. You know, like a little celebrity. Hello, darlings. Like the famous B teacher is coming to teach us. So when I got used to the work, I started to have so much fun in South Korea. I started to explore Korea and wow, this country is so amazing. There are so many beautiful things to discover about South Korea. I've not discovered all of it, but I've gone to my favorite big cities that I've always wanted to go to, and I've got a lot of videos coming up. But guys, once you get in it, you start to know what you're doing. Please use your weekends to explore. Like, go out, man. Guys, live. You know, don't always be indoors and stuff. You don't have to do extravagant things, spend big money. Just going to a coffee shop in Korea is an experience on its own. Treat yourselves. Live. Spend those ones. And stop converting. Gosh, guys, stop converting. You won't be able to live. So now, let's get into the things that I struggled with in South Korea. Firstly, one of the things I struggled with in South Korea has to be waking up early in the morning. I left like a traditional 9-to-5 job back in 2018, so I've never had to wake up at 6 a.m. since then. Coming to EPIK meant that I had to be up around those times. I struggled a lot. Number two, using public transport. I have been driving since 2008. Now you are bringing me into a job where I need to leave my Cristiano behind and go into a bus or a subway? Darlings, hello. That is one other thing I struggled with because the bus drivers are also not really friendly. This isn't fun, guys. Here's the bus, guys. It's leaving. They refuse to wait for us. I used to walk into the bus like, 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. And they wouldn't greet. They'd just be like, until I learned how to be Korean as well. I was like, they don't greet. I'm not gonna greet. So nowadays I go into the bus, I tap my card and I sit down. But if I see that other people who are going into the bus are greeting the bus driver and the bus driver is greeting them back, I then go in and be like, 안녕하세요, and obviously then they greet. Sometimes when I do leave the bus, I'll be like, 감사합니다, you know, just a thank you for the safe journey and stuff. But using public transport for me has been the pits, because if you want to go to a place, guys, it means you have to leave like an hour or two before. That means I have to wake up early. You guys saw some of my vlogs where I was vlogging like at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, that was just madness. The whole public transport thing, I struggled with that. Number three, the other thing I struggled with is the size of my apartment, like that shoebox. My apartment is like the size of a shoebox. It is half the size of my bedroom at home. I arrived and I was like, okay, like, what can I do here? Like, There's no space for like anything. But we got used to it because your girl over here does not like to clean. So the smaller the place, the better for me, right? Because it means there's not a lot of cleaning to do. Although my apartment had small little corners that I had to clean, so I still felt like I was cleaning a lot. The other thing I did not like about my apartment when I arrived was the fact that I was cooking on a 2-plate stove. Guys, I enjoy cooking. I love cooking. And on a Sunday, I'm sorry, but I'm one of those people who have to have a 7 colors meal. Please tell me, how do you cook a 7 colors meal on a 2-plate stove? 2-plate, 7 colors. It means that I have to allocate 3.5 hours or so on a Sunday to cook a 7-color meal. How exhausting is that? I mean, that means on Sundays I can't really go out because I'm using the time to cook. Number 4, the translating of things on our phones. I mean, I remember the first time I had to order takeouts, I probably translated like 15 screens. That really got to me. Like, it doesn't stop. That's also another thing, because you're always on your phone, you're always on this side and that side, everything's Korean, you're taking screenshots, you're going to Papago is telling you this. Sometimes Papago gives you translations of something you've never seen before and you're like, wait a second, am I doing this correctly or am I doing this wrong? So the translating of pages and stuff is one thing that used to grind my but yeah. Because sometimes you really want to make a purchase very quickly, and some of these pages have got timers and stuff, so if you don't select this at the right time, the timer goes off, you get kicked off the page. You sometimes get to a point you're like, actually, you know what, I don't even want to buy that stuff anymore. So what I used to do is I would just go to my co-teacher and say, hey, listen, darling, I'm struggling with ABC, or I need to return something, are you able to do this? And I just give them my phone, you know, like, can you guys handle it? So that's the advice I want to give you. If you need your kupang, your cacao stuff set, anything you need to set up that is Korean, go to your colleagues or go to your co-teachers. You don't have to struggle with this. Do not put yourselves in any sort of stress trying to figure out Korean by yourselves. You are just going to get annoyed. When coming to this Papago thing, I want to tell you guys a funny story. There was a time where I once ordered food. I thought I knew what I was doing on this delivery app, right? I was sitting there like, man, there's no way that it's 10 p.m. they've not delivered the food. Until I decided to screenshot the last page. And guess what, guys? Instead of selecting the food to be delivered at home, I said I would collect it. And I was like, collect it? How? I'm in PJs. Collected, that means I need to first organize a cab, and this was before I even set up my cacao taxi. I first need to try and figure out how to sort out cacao taxi. So you know what I did? I called my co-teacher, and thank goodness she was available on that Friday evening. I said, listen, my food is stuck at the store. Are you able to call them and ask them to deliver it? Apart from those things, I'm trying to think of something else that I did not like about Korea when I arrived. Korean surprises. Darlings, Korean surprises are like the worst things ever. Fortunately, I don't go through Korean surprises anymore because I've had a sit down with my co-teachers to say, darlings, we don't roll like this. I don't do Korean surprises, but can I tell you something about these Korean surprises? Something very good came out of them because they actually helped me to prepare in advance. Because I know that Koreans have a lot of Korean surprises, when you are well prepared, guys, when a Korean surprise comes up, you don't even flinch. You're just like, oh, hell yeah. Bring it on, this is great, because you know what? I'm already prepared for 2 weeks time. You know, I've already done this, I've already done that. So in the beginning, they are definitely horrible, but they help you to prepare in advance. Well, at least that's what they did for me, but I don't get any of those. And half of the time, it's not your co-teacher's fault. It's actually the homeroom teacher's fault because they come in very late, swap things, they tell your co-teachers, and then your co-teachers obviously have to deliver the information to you. But apart from that, I don't think there's anything about South Korea that I can say I did not like then when I arrived. Everything pretty much sort of worked out because I had to remember that, darling, you are on an adventure and you're gonna have to make this work because you're stuck in Korea for a year. Well, not really stuck, but you know, you've made the decision to live for a year. And as the months went by, guys, I started to go out on weekends. I started to do a lot of solo trips. Y'all know that I love to do solo things. I started to shop, literally the best. Your Korean ones will go missing in seconds, and it's okay, guys. The past year in Korea felt like a year-long vacation. I did not feel like I was working. It was just too much fun. You know, I kept waking up at times and I was like, wait, is this my life? Like, am I having this much fun? Is this not too good to be true? I remember when I used to do activities, I'd always video call my parents or my friends at home to say, guys, look at what I'm doing. Look at what we're eating. Look at what I bought. You know, I liked to take them on my South Korean experience, just like I have been doing with you guys, you know. So I had so much fun in South Korea, and I want to say that South Korea for me has definitely delivered, and they have exceeded my expectations. I got what I wanted to get out of my South Korean experience, and I just want to say, South Korea girl, you are exactly the girl that you think you are. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And while I've said this as well, guys, some people may not be experiencing the very same journey that I'm experiencing, because it happens. It's normal, you know. Our experiences will never be the same. But my experience in South Korea has just been top tier. I have had the most incredible year away from home, and if I could go back to August 18th to relive it again, I definitely would. I love South Korea. I really put it on a pedestal because they have delivered. Like, systems are in place, you know, they are so organized. The transport system, South Korea is clean, it's beautiful, there's variety of food. Like, I don't feel like I'm in Asia when I'm in South Korea. You can find food from Jordan. The last time I was in Itaewon in Seoul, and I saw a restaurant from Jordan, and I was like, what? Then you find an Indian one. Then you find one from, hello, SA. There are so many things I could say about this country, but not everyone will feel the same about it, and I respect that. And I just want to say to the people who have not experienced this side of South Korea and been happy in South Korea, I'm really sorry. I wish you could have experienced a better side of Korea. There are people who were treated badly at their jobs, people who fell ill because of some of these schools in South Korea, and they then decided to leave. And I want to say to everybody who has left, guys, you're not a quitter. You are not a quitter. In fact, I am proud of you for putting yourselves first and for knowing that you deserve better. I pray that you will get better. I pray that you have received better, and I pray that you will find jobs in places that will make you happy. And to everyone else who is still in South Korea and they're pushing and they love it, or some who want to stay permanently, guys, congratulations, you know, you've made it. That's amazing. Enjoy this experience, enjoy this opportunity that you have been given, and make the most of it. Man. Oh, guys, and by the way, I'm actually not in South Korea. I'm in South Africa. It's vacation time again. I came home again for summer vacation because, hello, of course I wanted to see my family, but besides that, there were a few things that needed me to be here in the country. So I was like, great, I get to hit two birds with one stone. But I am going to be leaving soon. I'm just here for a few days, and then I'm going to go to Hong Kong, and then it's back to work again, because, you know, our vacation days are actually not so long. So I am in South Africa. That's why my background looks so different. And I just want to say, I am not coming back to South Africa yet. I've decided to extend my beautiful adventure. And to everyone who is applying to come to South Korea, guys, do it. Do it. And you know what? Take every experience that other people have had with a pinch of salt. The best way to learn something and figure out if something is for you or not is through experience. Experience is the best teacher. Come through, come see it for yourselves, and then decide. Because we all have very different journeys, we all have very different experiences. You could come to South Korea and completely love it and want to settle here, or you can come to South Korea and completely hate it and feel like, it's not for me. It means you can go back home, or it means that you can go to another country. But don't sit at home and wonder from your couch if you should do something or not, or take in too much of the advices and stuff that we are giving you guys from this side. I'm enjoying Koriri, and I think you can enjoy Koriri. So if you want to enjoy Koriri with me, please come through. You can apply with EPIK. They're actually still interviewing people for spring intake. Don't forget, there are other agencies you can apply through. There's Korvia. Goldkey is back recruiting for EPIK. So excited for Cliff and South Africa. We also have Korean Horizons, GOE program. You can apply directly through them. You can apply through Pilsun as well for JEJU. So there are many ways you can apply to come and teach in public schools. Oh yes, and I want to cover something about advanced diplomas. If you do have an advanced diploma, you actually can teach in South Korea, but you would get hired at HAGWONs and not. I do have a few agents who do take people who have advanced diplomas, so I'll put the information in the description box. But guys, you can actually apply, you know, and I think that's good news. And if you guys have any other questions you'd like to ask, or if you feel I did not touch on a few things, you guys know where to find me, right? The comment section, Instagram, email, WhatsApp. But for now, until next time, sarangye!